housing market. Get the latest insights right here.
Welcome back to Indie Housing Market. I'm Kyle.morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker.
And I'm Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realty Group and FC Tucker.
And this week we have Jennifer Heavilin on, and it's she's one of our own. She's here. She's an agent at FC Tucker. You and I got connected very, very early for a variety of reasons. And so, like, how long have you been an agent now? Let's start there.
Christmas Day will be 5 years.
You started on Christmas
I started
Day?
on Christmas Day.
FC Tucker was open on Christmas Day?
No, and I wasn't with FC Tucker. I was sick with COVID when I took my test. Earth was closed, and so
Earth was closed.
they let you take the test with a proxy person to monitor the test, and so I had kept putting it off because I was so sick, and decided, you know what, someone's willing to proctor it. So I took the test Christmas Day, passed
Somebody proctored it on Christmas Day.
Yeah, they did.
I hope they got overtime or
I don't
holiday
know what
pay.
they got. But I couldn't taste anything. I was so sick, and there was no
And you
celebration.
still passed.
And I passed the test, and at the time, I didn't tell anyone I was taking it. And so
That seems to be the way everybody is.
I know,
I'm gonna be
because
sneakily
people say it takes you, I've heard horror stories of people trying to take the test 10 times, and I'm like, I don't want that to happen. So I took it, and then I texted my team lead at the time, and it was like, I'm a realtor. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
It's like, it's Christmas. Get with your family.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Well, there's no party.
You were that one that called your realtor on Christmas Day.
Well, she was my team lead. We were, close. So anyway, it was her Christmas present. I got to be her licensed assistant now because I had my license.
That's awesome. And then as a result, you also have gotten into other areas, right? And so I think one of the interesting things when I was in pre-licensing class is to find out my ignorance of what all you could do with a real estate license, right? And there's just so much more than what we actually do, right?
Correct.
And so you can do, one of them is property management. A lot of people don't know that you need a license for that, actually, right?
Yes.
And so a real estate license for it. And so that is one of the avenues that you have pursued as well, on top of just being a full-time agent. And so that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on here. Just so people understand what it's like, the ins and outs of it. How do you create a business around it?
And how you can help other realtors and everything.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of give us a rundown on how you got started. And
Sure.
What
So
made you do it?
When I was first an agent, obviously I had no book of business. I had nothing. I was brand new to the industry. And so at the time, my team lead was working with some investors and asked if I wanted to help manage their rental properties. And so being naive, I said, sure, and learned quickly the things that were good and then the things that were really, really terrible. And from there, I just kept bringing on new rental clients and kind of finessed how I wanted to run my business, and found a way to not have to deal with so many nightmares, that there's a way to structure this to where you actually enjoy waking up in the morning and not dreading it. And so over the years, I've just, continued to finesse it. And then in the last year, I've gone full in with property management, and it's been such a fun ride.
What'd you name it?
It's called Resolute Property Group.
And you had your LLC different from your real estate company, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So it has its own LLC. I have my own insurance for it. It's totally separate from FC Tucker. But I still do buying and selling as well. So it's been such a fun process. Being a business owner was never ever part of the plan, and now
when
Now
you
you own
became a
two.
realtor, you became a business
I know,
owner.
which
That's
that-
what people don't ever believe it, and they just think they're going to come and have fun. Which
It's the biggest
right.
mistake I see is people don't
100%.
treat it like a business.
yes,
And I did, just being a business owner myself was just not something I ever thought I would do. And now I'm spoiled for it. I would never, I just can't imagine working a 9-to-5 ever again.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it comes with its own headaches, but they're your
They're
headaches,
my
so it's
headaches
different.
that I've chosen. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a little bit different. I think it's.
whether you sink or swim is on you.
Yes, exactly.
I think the
Not
interesting
nothing.
thing about, because I don't do it like on the scale that you do it or that you want to do it. I have my own. I oversee my in-laws. I've helped clients. I don't usually manage the property, but I'll help them get the first lease, and like I can help with all of that stuff, kind of get the tenants, and then I just don't manage it. And with clients, I get a lot of people who are interested in maybe owning rental properties, right? And so one of the first things we have a discussion about is, how does it work financially, right? Because I don't think most people understand rentals and how it works. The second thing I talk to them about, are you a landlord or not? Because most people are not good landlords.
Right.
If I generally will be like, so like, how often do you think you'll drive past the property? And if it's more than like once a quarter, you're not a good landlord. Like, you're not fit to be a landlord.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, you're just too in the weeds on that property. My property in particular, I go once a year, right? Like, I get a good tenant. They call me when there's issues. Like, I mean, I just had to replace a sump pump like 2 weeks ago. They are very proactive with calling me, and I do a really good job of vetting tenants, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. Yes.
But I have dealt with, on both spectrums, people who are offloading properties because they don't want to be a landlord anymore, and then people who are moving out of rentals to purchase a house because they don't like their landlord, right?
Yes,
and I
exactly.
think people want to save money so they don't get a property management company. That's
Correct. Yes, I've run into that too.
right. And
Or they think they can do it themselves. Like,
Exactly.
how much can it take to have to do it?
Exactly.
but they can't separate themselves from their investment because it's now a different hat you're wearing.
Yes.
Right.
So my favorite kind of owner is one that's like, Jennifer, you take care of all of it. If I get my owner continuously texting and calling me, I just need to say to them, and I've had to say to them, I need you to let me do my job. This is why you hired me, and I'm very good at it. Please let me do my job. So yes, I take care of all of those details. My goal at the end of the day is that all the owner has to do is make sure that the deposit of the rental amount gets put in their bank account each week or each month, and then I take care and handle all the issues. So, for instance, if they call and they say, hey, the air conditioner is not working, every owner has to keep a $500 escrow amount in an account with me so that I can pay for the trip charge when I bring somebody out. And then if it's a big issue, then I will call the owner and say, hey, this is what I found out. I can get more quotes. I can do whatever. But I do everything for them so that at the end of the day, they're just having to make a final decision and they can go do their own thing. Like, they bought rental properties probably not to have to be a landlord and a property manager. They bought it so that they could do their job and let me do this job.
And have a side hustle, right? Because when I talk to people who want to invest, and I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on it, you really need to have, this is personal opinion, to really cash flow rental properties, 10 doors. I mean, otherwise, like, it's what it really is it's extra money. And I've run into so many people who have one or two rental properties, and then something catastrophic happens and they can't deal with it because they have been spending that money instead of putting it to invest or whatever else.
Correct.
Like, they're using it to live, not realizing they're carrying these massive liabilities potentially.
All it takes is a roof or an HVAC or something like
Yes.
that.
And you've been trying to cash flow $500 to $1,000 a month because, like, and living your own life off of it. Like, for me, like, I just take all that money, it goes into an account. At the end of the year, I take a distribution off of it. I invest it in the stock market. I keep an escrow account there, and that's just what I do. It's just multiple ways to do it. For me to actually want to replace serious income, like, I've just done the math on it. Like, I need 10 doors,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and if you're doing it, I wanted to say too, is there's two ways to do it: is hold a mortgage on it or pay cash for it. And if you're holding a mortgage on it, you may only be making so much, but the idea is to have them buy your house for you, right? Pay it down.
Correct.
So you have a lot less that you're making every month. So then if you're doing it with cash, it's like, well, could that cash be doing better in the stock market?
Well, you're still going to owe property taxes too, though.
The property, it's by the time you pay property taxes,
'Cause you're 2%
insurance,
on
and
it.
any repairs, and you have a mortgage, are you in the hole? Everybody has to look at it like
For
a
sure.
lot of different
And people
ideas.
have to take care of figuring out personally what works for them, and do they have the money to really do this. The thing, one, is when I have owners who barely cover the rent each month, and then they're having to cover it on top of that, and then I have the pressure of, if there's a vacancy, my owner's not going to be able to buy groceries. Like, that's not cool. I don't love that. I need people to understand that they need 10 to 15% set aside to cover all of the things that can come up with a rental property.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that's the biggest opportunity that I don't think people realized in 2020, 2021 is when they bought their house at 2 and 3% interest. What they really were doing is they bought their investment property. And you'll never buy an investment property now at 2 or 3% interest, especially in Hamilton County, where you can, if you bought a big house in Hamilton County. And so what I've had is a couple situations where in my neighborhood, two of our owners, two families, had to move out of state, and they had this 2 and 3% interest rate on their house in Westfield. It's a beautiful home, and they didn't want to have to let it go. I could have sold it for probably around $600,000, but they were only paying $1,800 a month for a 5-bedroom house. And
you can't even buy at $225 for that kind of a rental
Exactly.
or
Isn't that
monthly
crazy?
payment
Correct.
right now.
And so what we did is I did the math with them, and they're going to get to hold on to their property. And I have somebody in one of them for $3,500 a month, and I have somebody else in the other one for $3,800 a month. And so that's more than
That's a really
obviously
good
cash
flow on
flowing that. And these houses are already well maintained. And so again, as a private property manager, I tell my tenants, as soon as you see any problem at all, please let me know. Don't feel like you're inconveniencing me. There's no problem too small. I want to nip it in the bud immediately so that the owner doesn't have to end up spending great big
Yeah, a
amounts
lot
of
more
money
money.
for maintenance.
The only thing I see different that could happen is when they're having that 2 to 3% and they need to move, is they will need the equity out of that house to buy the next house. So
Sure.
that would be one instance where they couldn't.
Yes, and sometimes you definitely need that. The thing that I'm finding out though is if you don't need that cash out of the house to put a down payment on the next house, then you get to hold on to something that's going to just continue to increase in equity, and the mortgage company will see that rental as income, and it doesn't count. It counts favorably toward your debt to income ratio. And therefore you can go on and buy the next house. And so, yeah, it doesn't work for everybody. I understand that. But at the same time, you're never going to be able to buy a house in Hamilton County
At 2-3%.
at 2 or 3%, and it be a house that is going to continue to increase in equity and that. So it's been a really interesting. It was not something I saw coming.
Well, what I was surprised at is we were talking about earlier is my board just put out that we've gone up 5% in all of the donut counties, all of my board, 5% since last October of 2024. I didn't really physically think that was possible this year that we were doing that, because it just seems like we've kind of slowed down a little bit, but we've still are going up.
Yes.
5% more in the past 12 months.
But it's interesting because, like, it's not because stuff is selling over list. It's because, as somebody who's dealt with this over the past couple of months, I was comping off of stuff from May, April,
Correct.
March, February, which was a higher price point. Because, like, if you guys remember, day after Valentine's Day this past year, spring market started.
Yeah.
And it was competitive.
Yeah.
And it was over list. And we talked about it on this podcast. And then it fell off in May.
Yeah.
And so recent stuff was comped against that. And it's going to take a while for that to kind of like come down. I would say like when we're going to show numbers come down will be like January, right? Because we'll be comping off of this like
I just
more
think
recent
we
history.
need to comp only 3 months if we can.
I agree with you, but that's
No
hard
ways.
because there's been such
Yeah.
slow movement.
No, I know. Back in the day, it was always 12 months.
Yes.
I don't know, you know, been around
Yeah.
long enough, it was 12 months. And then we talked about 6 months.
Right.
And we could do it in 21, 2022, 23, all of those. Now it's 3 months.
Sure.
And I've never seen that since I've been doing this since 2008, that we could only go back 3 months to look for comps.
January and February is when we'll be comping against this August, September stuff, you know, and closer, and it'll show that it has gone down. But I'd be willing to bet like it'll show it's down from like July, but because it was up, it'll still probably be up like 2% over 2024.
Yeah,
if
it's
that
just
makes
interesting to
sense,
see
you know?
it's continually rising. The only thing is they did speak about condos, and they're down 3.9%. So condos are slipping.
And condos typically have a very tight rental cap on them.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
I don't,
Smaller buyer pool too.
correct.
And HOA fees higher.
Although
to even
I-
have it
yes.
cover your rentals.
So that's a good one too. So like, you know, when I've dealt with people who have condos and they want to do rentals because it is allowed or whatever, like you have to roll that in. They always ask like, oh, should the tenant, you know, pay the HOA fees? And I'm like, no, because if they don't pay, there's a lien against your
Yeah,
property. I was
absolutely
like,
not.
charge them extra and you continue to pay it. But
And as a private property manager, I also work in the fact that the tenant has access to me. I feel like that's a big value add. And so
Yes.
I have ways of comping rentals, and I will always add an extra onto that, so that just because I feel like that is such a value add for the tenant and for the owner, that they can talk with me directly. So yes, we have to work in all of that for sure. But I do have I have a townhouse in Westfield. It was in Westgate. It's a new build, and they had not put any kind of rental caps on there. So all of the townhouses in there, I mean, I don't know percentage wise, but a good majority of them are rentals.
Build to rent, that's what they are.
Yeah, and
There's quite a few of those, and it's interesting.
it is, yes. For me, I in this part of my business, I'm like, yay.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Well, we also have the rental caps in Carmel and Fishers as well.
Correct. And I was looking today
for now,
to see.
Yeah,
I know.
well,
I'm hopeful.
My
That
boy's working real hard against that.
I'm really
Pay your
hopeful.
RPAC dues or
Yes.
I got to pay mine
donate your
by December
RPAC.
1st.
Yeah, I really hope that gets overturned. But I was looking today trying to find out if we know what the rental, where the rental amount we're at right now in Carmel in
I
terms
know.
of
Where
percentage.
are we supposed to be hearing this? Like, does anybody know this answer?
There
It's like,
is a website. I looked at it briefly that just showed how to register your rental, but
But
I
it
don't
doesn't
know
show how many people are
Yes.
in the hopper.
I don't
so
think
to
they
speak.
know. I don't know how they're going to catch up to that.
I'm also
It's gonna
not
be
sure
a
how
while.
they're going to enforce that, but that will be an interesting thing to see happen at the first of the year.
Well, have you seen? I don't know if you're seeing it. It just doesn't seem like people are flying around trying to buy rentals to beat this cap, which we had kind of talked about might happen because everybody would like, oh, I got to buy my rentals because it's going to cap soon and we'll never get
Well,
one
because
again.
the prices,
People don't have money.
interest rates,
Yeah.
yes,
There's
and
not a
that's
good ROI on it.
right. Which is why if you have somebody in Carmel who has lived there a long time and they're ready to either move up or down in house, it's a great opportunity to turn that into a rental.
It's kind of the only way.
People
really.
are going to pay premium rent to live in Carmel, so those are excellent opportunities.
It's in Westfield, Centennial is a really good
Yeah.
rental neighborhood, and I know that the HOA is trying to overturn that. They may have actually. I know they were getting ready to vote on it, but it's a massive neighborhood, and
It's hard to get 75% vote, which is normally what they're asking.
Yes.
If you
it
have
is.
that.
But
Yeah.
the other thing is like it's such a large neighborhood. Like you wouldn't even notice that it's a rental,
Correct.
like that there's a decent amount of rentals in there because they have no cap in there actually.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that
the
they
thing
don't for the
about-
size of it.
The thing about people who are up in arms about rentals in their neighborhood is because you have the property management companies that don't do anything.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
bad landlords.
And-
it's not bad tenants.
Exactly. And
If you
I
had good landlords, you wouldn't have bad tenants.
for sure. And that's the message I'm trying to get out to people is you need to work with property management companies that are actually provable
Hands-on.
that they are going to do what they say they're going to do. And therefore, that way you have in Centennial, you have people that want to be in Westfield school districts and they can't buy in Westfield right now. It's just, it's
So
out of
expensive.
reach. But
Well, if you can afford a rent too, that's at $3,000, $3,500. I mean,
There's credit score and there's down
credit
payment.
score, down payment, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the competition just in Westfield too. So
Even with rentals though, like these days, like they want you 3 times
Correct.
your rent to income. 3 times.
and again, that's where I can work with the owner and say, what are our comfort levels?
Yeah.
To me, like the credit score, I could take a look at the credit score, but
You need the
that's-
story.
I need the story, and that's what I offer. I'm able to sit down with the tenant, the potential tenant, talk about, okay, I have one right now. And if I had just gone based off the credit score, she would not have qualified for it. But it was medical bills. She had a stroke a few years back and just accumulated so much medical debt. And I was able to speak with her, find out that they were fantastic people. I got them into this rental, and they are now about to have an accepted offer on their first purchase. They're buying a home now. And it's those kinds of things that make me happy, is when I can come in and hear somebody's story, find out that they just need somebody to give them a chance. Now that's backfired, because I can also get, I've learned that I can't be compassionate towards everybody in that sense, but people whose stories are it's a real and it's a genuine situation. I love that I'm able to come in and help them, and now they've been renting for 3 years and they're about to become first-time home buyers.
That's the thing that people don't like. If you give people a shot, they are potentially your best tenants ever. So
Absolutely.
I specifically try to rent mine to felons in recovery, right? It's near and dear to my heart. And, I think when you say that out loud, people are like, that is just such a bad idea on so many fronts. The crazy part is like I can vet all these people. I can see how they're doing, what's going on with them. And the idea that I gave them a shot, they are probably the best house on the block.
100%. And I had a situation too where this was early on, when there would be 30, 40 applications per rental property. And this guy had a nonviolent drug charge from 14 years prior. And so he has a felony on his record. And I was able to, because I know the different owners and property managers in the city, I was able to call and advocate on his behalf and just say, listen, this is a guy, he's got his life together. He turned it around, and by being able to hear their story, I was able to talk to the owner and got them into this rental above all the other people, because you see a felony and if you have 30 applications, you set it aside. And I'm able to do the advocating part, which is really,
it doesn't
really important
even
to me.
make, like, some of the systems just automatically kick it out. They don't even get to make a case. There is something that we got to be involved in when I first got into the business called Landlord Mitigation Fund, and it is specifically for felons in recovery, and it's run by the state, and you sign up for it as a landlord, and basically it is state-backed dollars that if you give somebody a shot who has all these things, that there's this fund that will offset if you have to evict them for a certain reason, that will offset your loss of rent while you get another person. So it's like an incentivization to give those people a shot.
For sure.
And it's backed, like there's a guarantee behind it.
I love that. In my past, although I didn't have a criminal background, I had some really deep trauma background, and having somebody that believes in you and will give you a hand up and say, let me walk beside you and help you through that, has made it where I am very passionate about helping people who have made mistakes and need that person. But I've also had people who you think, okay, they made mistakes, and so you give them a chance, and then there's a reason why.
One of the things I see a lot of is just people who get divorced.
Yes.
And their credit is bad, and they can't get a rental, and like they need a rental, right? Like we're going from one house to needing two houses, and it could be where a husband. Like usually I see it one of two ways. I usually either like there's a stay-at-home mom or something, and she does not really have a credit history, and like now all of a sudden she's like, I got to get into the workforce and all this stuff, and like she's screwed and up against it, right? It sucks. Or I see something where like the man didn't know, and like there was overspending by the spouse, and like the credit, like I mean, we all mess it. Like it's never one side or the other. Like like there's always something, and they can't even find a rental. And they can be making like 120, 150K, and their credit score is like 540.
Please send those people to me. So I am not scared so much by the credit scores anymore. I've opened up credit scores that were, I think the lowest one I ever saw was 449.
It's probably somebody I knew.
And so I take a look at that, and of course that's a bit of a red flag at first, but as you get into it and you talk to them, as long as like their criminal history is not battery of a pregnant woman and meth possession, which is one I had somebody apply that was what was on their
That's a little different.
background, and I was like, that one's probably not going to
Well, the
work
thing
out.
they're also
But had a good credit score.
they're working on making sure, trying to make sure that rentals would now become part of your credit score too.
Yes,
To start getting
yes.
those reported. So where are we on that?
So the system I use, I use a system called Rent Ready to manage all of my rentals, and there is a place where you can pay to have your rental payment reported to the credit agency.
Ooh, I like that.
What is it? Do you know the name of it?
What is
How could somebody do that? Because I think that's really important for renters who are
Yes.
stuck in the rental rat race to not be able to get their credit score growing because they're renting. If this is available now,
So it's available through the platform that I use to manage. So you have to be a landlord or a property manager to have access to this system. But then if you're if you're my tenant, you now have access to that. I don't know, then I'll have to look at the name. I haven't had anyone take advantage of it yet, but it is a great opportunity. You can even have it where when you pay your utilities, that gets reported to your credit score.
yeah,
and
I'd be
everything.
interested in
Yeah,
hearing
I'll
more
have to
about
look
that
into
for
that.
myself and other people.
I
who
use
are-
I use Smart Move through TransUnion for
Okay.
any rental applications and stuff like that. So that's another good resource that you just pay for. And if you
Yeah.
do want to do like if you do own one or two and you want to, run it like that, you
Well,
can
for
do
any
that.
agents too who have investors that are buying their onesie,
You gotta be able to have
twosie,
the
they're not going to
information.
go use a property landlord. But we need
Right.
to also, as agents, have resources available to our clients who might be wanting to go this route.
Yeah, absolutely.
Medical. I wish
Yes.
medical didn't smoke your credit score the way it does, because I mean, you could have a baby that's in NICU,
Exactly.
and it could just smoke your credit, and you're just like, I can't find a place, and like you could be perfectly fine, but because you racked up
Yes.
$750,000 in medical bills all of a sudden, because
Yeah,
of
to me, the most important thing is that I can verify their employment and that they've been at their job for 3 months. I mean, it's not a huge bar to jump, but
Yeah.
that to me is the most important thing. Do you bring in enough money to pay the rent? If that's the case and you messed up your credit because you were, either medical issues or you were dumb in your 20s and you did stupid things,
Been there.
yes, then I don't feel like penalizing somebody for that is because your credit score is your relationship to debt. And so I'm much more interested in, are you an upstanding citizen now? And are you making money? And have you held a job? And can I call your boss and they can say they're a fantastic employee, they come when they're supposed to? That's the thing I look for. And that's what the big property management companies don't do, right?
Yeah.
They don't have
the capacity.
Right. And
Well, the
bring me
big
your
property
people.
management companies don't do the repairs either.
No.
I find that more and more when I go in to take a listing of a house that's been a landlord's been holding, and walk into these houses and hear the stories from the tenants.
Correct.
And they're like, well, we've tried so hard to get these items fixed, and nothing's being done for them. But yet they're taking the money monthly.
sure.
Every month they're taking that money.
So-
and it's just it's a sad situation for everybody.
Yes, and before I will ever agree to take on a rental, really, we talk about how, you want good tenants, which of course you do, but to me, the first thing is you have to have great owners.
Yes.
If you have terrible owners
Yeah.
that don't care whether or not the house is falling down, then there's a property management company, I'm sure, that would take that, but that's not my business model. So my first interview is to interview the owner and make sure that my agreement with them is if the tenant brings us something, that within 24 hours we have somebody out there looking at the issue. And then if we, if the AC person says, look, this unit, we've put it back together as many times as we can, you just need to replace it.
Mm-hmm.
Are they willing to do that? And if they're not, then that's not a good fit for me. I need owners that care about their property as much as I care about their property.
Well, they should care about their property and take care of
They
it so
should.
that they don't have more and more money going out the window as they
Absolutely.
own it.
Yes.
You're just going to get kicked in the face if you own property. You got to understand it's a long-term investment until you have a
Yes.
certain volume play. I mean, this year I had we had a furnace problem on one of mine. And I mean, like year 2, I put a new roof on this thing, right? And then like whatever it is, and it's just always something small, It's like I have a hot tub at mine too, and so next thing you know, I'm buying a hot tub cover, and I'm like, I don't even have a hot tub at my house, and
Right.
I'm buying a hot tub cover. But anyways, so it's this cute 2-bedroom, 1-bath up in Anderson. I love this property. It's just a really good house with a full basement, and I mean, it's like a 1940s house. Yeah. And so furnace was acting up, and they're like, hey, it's going to be it's going to be like $7,000 or $6,000 for the furnace. And I was like, well, I didn't think that was the problem. And they're like, well, here's the thing. Like, we got to replace it. Otherwise, like, I can't remember what they were telling me. Like we're just going to put it off, and you're paying this no matter what. So you're going to pay twice, basically, because you're going to temp fix it until you fully fix it, right? And then when they got into it, they're like, well, you need an AC also, because if I put a new furnace in, the AC is so old that I'll end up burning out the furnace prematurely because the AC is so old they won't work well together.
I never agree to just one.
Right.
If
So
they're the same age.
$10,000 later, I have a new furnace and a new AC in this house, and like I don't make that kind of profit on the house a year.
Sure.
So like that's like 3 years worth of profit gone,
Yes.
But like it's a long-term investment.
You're holding right, exactly. To me, it's just, do you want to put your money in the stock market? Do you want to put your money in real estate? But either way, you put it in there and then you don't touch it for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, and you're supposed to be talking about, like you say, long-term is when you sell it is where the profit.
Exactly.
Well, the part that gets left out is that, like, because of equity and because of market appreciation, and not only that, when I bought this, like, rates were lower. Like, I have a 6% on an investment property. Yeah. That's insanely low, right? And like, so now I have $70,000 in this building that, I mean, I've had, and the repairs are, you write those off, right? Which helps with the business that you own there. And I was all in on my down payment, like $22,000. Like, that's a really good return, you know, but like people are like, oh, I lost money on it this year. Like, I'm doing fine on this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gained 5%.
Yeah, like, what are we talking about?
Just past 12 months.
I don't know. That's the hardest part is basically people are looking, they're like, oh, if I have some extra money sitting here, and how do I go make more money? This is an option. This is, like with my financial advisor, it's like we just want to put something in all the buckets, right? Like that doesn't mean like I put it all in this bucket or that bucket. This is not necessarily the first bucket to fill if you're trying to invest.
Sure.
And like you have to know your view on it has to be a certain way until you have enough where it gets to change. And people just like, oh, well, like to your point, they're like, my rate is this and I'll do this. And so that's an extra $2,000 a month. And so like I can go get a Corvette. And I'm like,
right.
No, that's not what we're saying at all.
I went to IRS. He was a past IRS person who did everything in very high level IRS person. And he taught this 8-hour class I went to. And he said, if you are a realtor, you need to be investing in real estate. That's what realtors should be doing.
Yes.
Above and beyond what you're doing and selling every day, you should be, like he said, that is just a no-brainer. And it was just really funny. He spoke for probably 45 minutes on realtors. Why are you not investing in real estate? You have the access to it more than anybody else. And, he's very adamant about it.
Sure.
So that's a great way, if you're going to be a realtor, to also have a second, like you're doing with property management. You're not doing it that way. But finding ways to do other things as a real estate agent rather than just buying and selling with your clients is
definitely.
finding those second and third avenues to make money as a real estate agent. That was very interesting to talk to him.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to get a flipper on so I can have a discussion with the flipper. I'm gonna do that.
Don't want to talk to me?
You flip differently than the people I want. I just want people to make sense. And because, like, I'm always open to changing my mind. If somebody just gives me the information so it can make sense to me, I'm totally here for it. I've got some that I'll reach out to and see if they want to do it. I'll probably have to talk to them beforehand and be like, hey, I may be critical of you, but make it make sense, right? Like, present the argument to me. So
I want to do that because I love talking to you about things that you and I do not agree on, because when we don't agree, we can still talk about it.
Right. Yes.
I don't have a dog in the fight. Yeah,
and
it's just an opinion.
It's great ways to talk about things and throw out both sides, right?
So let's ask Jennifer. I like to call you Jen.
You can call me Jen once you're my friend.
Okay.
I go by Jennifer when I don't know you yet. But then yes, everybody calls me Jen.
You Jen. So I like flippers who are agents who do it the right way.
Yes.
Right?
Well, that's me. I hope you were thinking.
That's why I said you do it the right way. What I don't
absolutely
like
do.
is agents who buy off-market properties
Terrible.
to, and I feel like it's insider trading because like they know the market, they know the ability of a property to perform, and I feel like our job is a public trust position. And so, the argument I always hear is like, well, I have a fiduciary responsibility to my client. And in that situation, I am my own client, right?
Okay.
The problem I struggle with that is like, anytime I have a knowledge base over somebody else, I am taking advantage of them.
Yes.
And like so it feels slightly predatory. Now, I do know there are specific situations where, the house is a mess and how do we do this? And like, blah, 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 blah. Those are not the situations. There's not
Sure.
that many of those
Right.
scenarios
Right.
that I would have this many flips out there, if that makes sense, right? And so,
Flipping is hard right now. The
Flipping
prices
is-
are too high.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
prices
yeah.
are too high.
Well-
unless you're working with wholesalers, which that's a whole nother story.
or unless you're doing it outside of Indy, which is, so when I talk to flippers, I'm like,
Correct.
go to Kokomo, go to Anderson,
Yeah,
go to
Anderson,
Plainfield,
Kokomo.
go to
Tipton,
Danville,
yes.
Tipton.
Yeah.
There is plenty.
Muncie is huge right now.
Yeah, but then they're always like, well, I can't get my contractors to drive that far. Like I'm like, well, then,
Well,
Find your
again,
new
which
set.
is why you need a great property manager who has an amazing team of people around them.
in Kokomo and Muncie
I
and
can,
all this.
yes,
yeah.
and I can tell you, I can work with them to get who you need out there.
So I guess I want to have somebody on who can explain to me, like, when they're having that conversation with somebody, that it is not a predatory conversation where, cards aren't being held close to the chest, if that makes
Sure.
sense. And if that can be proved to me, then like I will 100% change my mind on it. Like, yeah, it makes sense. But
Well,
I
for
can't
my-
make it make sense on my own in my head. So
And for my own personal business model, I won't help investors buy houses anymore. I will leave that up to whoever,
interesting.
what other realtors would like to do that. But I have now toured the great state of Indiana over and over and over and over again. And I'll have investors say, here are the things I have to make this make sense. And so I will send them literally 50 houses that fit that. And they're like, no. And so I'm done now helping the investor buy
or you
the
go
house.
look, and they'll be like, I really like this one. Like, let's say it's like 110. They'll be like, offer them 40. And you're like,
Yes,
how do we-
yes.
Yeah,
Come
because
on.
they're
Exactly.
an investor.
Well, and I'm not going to deal with that anymore. So I would love
don't
all
do
of
it
the
either.
realtors that are working with investors. Once you help them find the house and you get that sale, proud of you, good for you, bring them to me and I will manage them all day long. But I do not help investors anymore find houses.
I will if it's a friend and we're looking for like one-offs, but like, those random phone calls, like I'm an
Yes.
investor. I instantly get into like the ROI is outside of Indianapolis, and they're like, I don't know about that. I was like, then I'm not your guy, because
Exactly.
like I've been in all these houses in Indy, and
Yeah.
like you're gonna want to murder it on price, or we're gonna get it and it's just a like, well, I'll buy it sight unseen. I was like, I don't do that either.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm just too involved, and they want me jumping through hoops, and I've got enough business. I'm not
No, for
here to go
sure.
look at
And
60 houses like that.
I have enough stress in my life to not add those types of people to my life.
Isn't it nice to get to the point where you're like, I don't think so.
Yes, exactly. And so
Well-
I've built this in a very niche way. So I don't, I'm not chasing. I've said no to a lot of opportunity because I just knew the headache that was going to come. I'm not. That's not what I'm personally building. And
It makes me really happy to see somebody doing it the right way. I want to make sure, like, we got to get through the stats and everything because we have a hard stop. But you built a business around your heart and doing it the right way, and there's no way that won't work. That's
I
just all I have
appreciate
to
that.
say.
Thank you
Like,
so
it
much.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
So
a
realtors, how
wild
can
ride.
they, we'll talk about how they can get a hold of you at the end here, but, that's a great thing that, like you said, you can help other real estate agents who are working with their investors to find that end result of, now what do I do that I've purchased it? They
Yes.
have you that they can reach out to. So
Yes.
we'll talk about that
You
at
should
the
coach
end.
other
Yeah.
agents on how to do it as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you can make some income doing that.
Yeah,
like, hey,
definitely.
this is what I learned. This is how I do it. Let me make it plug and play for you.
And yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's a very specialized what I do. I don't, I want to build this to where I actually enjoy what I'm doing and not the headaches and the disaster that property management can be if you don't do it correctly. So I love helping people. I'd love to talk to other people who are interested in doing this as well.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we will have people reach out to you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, the market, man, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. I do want to.
It is the middle of November.
It is, and it snowed this week.
And I think the middle of November is showing itself for the first time ever since 2019.
Yeah. I do want to. I don't want to go on this right now.
2090. What is it?
I don't want to go on this rant right now, but I'll bring it up. The idea of a 50-year mortgage is stupid. I don't really want to get into that right now. Okay, so Fishers. I had 37 go on the market in a week. 30 of them are still there, so 7 sold in a week, which is actually a decent amount compared to what we've been experiencing. Like, for example, 2 sold in a week last week, so
Wow.
or the week prior to that. So 29 are still on there. Anywhere from 189 to 1.5 million. There's 268 on the market. Average days on the market is 68, and the median is 38. The average is up. It's a misnomer. The median is much closer to what we've kind of been experiencing around there. We've been floating around this 40 number pretty consistently, high 30s to mid 40s in Fishers. In Noblesville, I had 26 go on the market, only 3 sold in the week, so 23 are still active, but 24 actually pended, so close to a wash. Anywhere from 189 to 900. I have 255 on the market, and average days on market is 39. The median is 32. That's been hovering about the same as well for Noblesville. I mean, we are close to Thanksgiving. Like anything under contract right now, you're looking at, if you get it next week, you're closing week before Christmas.
Yep.
You got in a week and a half, you're probably closing in January. That's just the reality of it, right? So this is where 2026 starts.
With the sellers is, I don't know. If you don't get on the market this week, which is funny to look at the stats, my opinion, if you're not on the market by this weekend, I think we don't want to drive up our days on market. So I don't see a reason to hit the market right now. Give us another 7 days maybe, but right before Thanksgiving, you're going to just eat 15 days.
Yeah.
And then if you don't hit the market again by that first or 2 weeks of December, you're going to, at the third week you're into the Christmas, you're going to eat up 2 weeks. Christmas, that 20th through the 1st of January, you're going to eat 14 days. Days on market matter now. They haven't mattered. Days on market now, there is no reason to put your house on the market anytime where you're just going to give yourself an extra 14 days for the fun of it. So I'm surprised to see in Carmel, only 19 hit the market. So I'm seeing the big slowdown, and I think it's Thanksgiving. But the pending of those, 7 sold of the 19, but a total of 24 pended. So we lost inventory. Average days on market for the past 7 days was 29. But in the solds, the average day is 30. So we're sticking at 1 month in Carmel for the average days. But those actives, there's 191 active. Their average days on market is almost 3 months. So if you're sitting for about 3 months. Westfield, 34 hit the market, 9 pended, but a total of 18 pended of all of the actives. 33 average days on market for the past 7 days. The past 30 days was 49. We have 293 sitting on the market in Westfield right now with an average days of 80. So, again, it's 30 days average for that. Then you can go up to 80 if you're sitting. Zionsville, 11 hit the market, 5 pended, but a total of 12 pended. Those 5 of those 11. So we lost inventory in Zionsville. Zionsville went way up this past 7 days to 69 average days on market.
It's high.
8,
Wow.
8 a couple of houses that have been sitting for a while because their average of the actives in Zionsville, their 66 is 99. We've talked about Zionsville so much this year about if you have a house in that, that you want to sell, get it out there. We can't get enough. We're selling like hotcakes. Zionsville has slowed way down for some reason. Just 99 for current 66 sitting there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So do not, my opinion, grab yourself an extra 14 days on the market around these holidays.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. December, we're expecting another rate drop. See if rates are fingers crossed. I'd love to see a 5.99 and
that would make such a
March,
difference. That
April.
5, it'll make such a big difference, I think,
Just
to everybody.
psychologically.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the same way when you price a house, $249,900 compared to $250.
Yeah,
It's a big difference.
It does matter for how people digest it. And who knows? So the weird part about the 50-year mortgage, like I disagree with it in principle, but it will let people so that's where I struggle as a real estate agent. Yeah, it actually makes sense. It's good for our industry. It's good for the market. It allows people to get into a house. As a person understanding finances, like that's a stupid thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like, who lives in a house 50 years?
Correct.
Well,
Nobody.
the 30-year mortgages.
Who lives in a house 30 years anymore?
If you wanted to look at, like, just say we added a 30-year mortgage in this time period, you could possibly say that's ridiculous. Who's in today's world? They say the
agree.
average turnaround is 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 30 years is
15-year
ridiculous.
mortgage is probably the most smart play, but like
Need
it's
a bigger down
expensive.
payment,
Yeah.
and your
monthly's
monthly is
expensive.
really high. So that's the reason for the 50 is to get those monthlies down so people can get in houses. But then again, we don't have inventory, so there's just
We need to
always
get
something.
somebody on here to talk about, but it's also not been approved or anything like
No,
that,
no,
so
no.
it's not a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah,
But
Always
it's just
things being-
fascinating to talk
Things
about.
thrown around.
I do want to say though, before we get off of here, Happy Veterans Day to everybody. I come from a military family. I'm not a veteran myself. I did work at the Department of Veterans Affairs, but my grandpa was a colonel. My other grandpa served. My dad lost his leg in Vietnam. My brother served. I come from a long line of military, a military family. So happy
As do
Veterans
I.
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Veterans Day. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if anybody
And
wants
the
to,
Marines were 250 years yesterday.
I know I got a
Oh,
buddy
very
right now
cool.
who's wanting to join the Marines, and I was like, "Do you know what you're getting into?" If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you, Jennifer?
Yes, the best way would be to text me. So my number is 317-508-8526. You can also email me at jenniferisresolute@gmail.com. And I have in the works right now, I'm rebranding. And so my Facebook page is under construction. My website is under construction. Soon, those will all be ready as well.
Oh,
so,
fun.
Yeah,
That's
I'm really
always
excited
fun.
about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Kyle Morris, Morris Property Group and FC Tucker. My number is 317-649-5122.
I'm Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realty Group, and my phone number is 317-201-2601. Talk to you next week.